Well, welcome everybody. NorCal Sports Network. We're doing live here. 49ers in-game live. Welcome to the show. It's in the fourth quarter. Jake Moody just missed a 31-yard field goal, and the Niners are trailing 31-28 in a shootout. Hey, Spencer, how you doing? Good to see you. Guys, this show is brought to you by, hey, Lisa, how are you? Show brought to you by Chapman Law Group. Check out Chapman Law Group. If you need any legal needs, give Chapman Law Group a call. They're located in Marin. They're at 415-613-9483. All right. That's Goff lines up. They're at their own 48-yard line. He hands it off to Gibbs in the backfield. Gibbs reverses, runs around to the right. He's got some running room. If he can get past Mustafa, he doesn't. He gets out of bounds at the 49-yard line. Gain of 3. That was a long run there for 3 yards. But, yeah. Hey, Matthew, good to see you. Cole. So, Lions have the ball at the 49ers side of the field on the 49-yard line, 2nd and 7. Hey, Kitchen. Yeah, Moody has not helped at all tonight, man. Hand off to Gibbs in the backfield. It looks like he's going to get about 4, and he's short by 3 to the 45-yard line. All right, I got my Lions colors on, guys. Sorry, I got my Niners hat on, but I had to do what I had to do. I bet some money on this Lions here. I took the point spread. I figured the Lions would just be destroying the 49ers, but forgot about how porous their defense is. I can't see these guys getting into the Super Bowl with this defense. They need a lot of help. Okay, Goff back to pass from the shotgun. 3rd and 5, throws over the middle. He leads Laporta too much, and it's incomplete. That looked like last year's NFC Championship pass right in the ground. So they're going to punt it away. 12:03 to go and try and pin the Niners down inside or the 10-yard line. So, hey, Kitchen, have a great vacation. Somebody sent me this, guys. Pretty funny. See, what do we got? Okay, they're going for it. 4th and down. 5. Oh, they got it. Laporta complete. He's down to the 26-yard line of the 49ers. Wow. Dan Campbell does not believe in the punt. I kind of love it. just hey, look what somebody said. They were sick of Moses Moody. Jake Moody. Look at, they sent me this. Put my name on the back. I used to be a kicker. That's pretty funny. I thought that was hilarious. All right, here we go. 26-yard line. 1st and 10, 11:20 and counting at the clock. Goff hands off straight back in the backfield to Reynolds. Reynolds picks up a gain of 2. Guys, this Aaron did this for me, guys. Look at that. Is that classic or what? Come on, can you get any better than that? Look at that. I think I made that one. Didn't I, Aaron? Thanks. Oh, man. So here we go. 10:44, clock moving. 2nd and 8. Goff, shotgun, throws it out to the right in the flat. It's incomplete. He threw it too low. Looked like he was going for, who was that? Okay, yeah, that was is that Williams 9? Ooh, that was almost a backward pass. No, not really. No, he threw it forward. Boy, he had a little room to run if he would have caught it in stride. If it was up near his, if he didn't have to bend down and reach for it, he could have put a juke out on Mustafa, who's out there in the flat. All right, 3rd and 8, shotgun. Straight back to pass. He throws it to the side. Williams falls down. All right, looks like we're going to have a field goal now. This should be a 43, 44-yard field goal. There's no way he goes for it now. Oh, Jamison Williams just slipped. He would have had D. Winters out one-on-one in the flat. He probably would have been able to get past him. All right, Jake Bates, who's made from 57 tonight, is going to attempt a 42-yard field goal. I hit a 42-yarder my sophomore year in high school. This should be a pretty easy kick. He's got it. It's good. 34-28. Wow, I don't think the scoring's done. Do you guys think scoring's done on this game, guys? Man, was Bates having an injury there or what? Boy, the Lions, they face next week. They're going to be playing Minnesota for all the marbles. And Detroit has to. Wouldn't you guys say that Detroit has to win the division? Because if they lose, they haven't had a bye since week 5. This is week 17. Next week's week 18. They'll have played like 12, 13 straight weeks. And if they have to go on the road to Tampa Bay, even though they're the better team, they're just going to be wiped out, tired. And this defense, wow. If any team needs a bye, it's Detroit. That's going to be a shootout next week in Detroit with Minnesota. I think, man, what a shame. If you go 14-3 and have to go on the road and you lose the division in the very last week of the season. All right. Hold on here. Grab the remote here. So, all right. What do we got in the chat here? Yeah, there's 12 minutes left, Lisa. I think 12 minutes in the game. Yeah, Eddie, who knows with this defense exactly. So 34-28, Spencer. Yeah, I got money on the I got money tonight on the Lions. Not that I mean, if this was a game that was meaningful, I wouldn't bet against the 49ers just because, it's hard for me to bet against my team when they have to win. But in a game that's meaningless for the 49ers, and as much as the Lions' firepower and the weak defense of the 49ers and kind of that revenge factor a little bit, I figured the Lions would put it on them and win by 2 scores. It's still a 1-score game, so I gave the 3.5 points. Oh, you got the baseball today. Great, Rob. Awesome. I'll have to have you come on the show maybe tomorrow night. Show us the ball. That's cool. Aaron, did you get your baseball today? I don't know who. Aaron's had to travel a little further. I couldn't throw it that far, Aaron. I could reach Rob. He was in the valley. I was able to reach him, but my arms wasn't strong enough to reach all the way to where you're at. Kickoff. Debo downs it. So it's 34-28, 10-20. Oh, my bad, Lisa. I told you 12 minutes. You're right. 10:29 left in the game. Aaron didn't get his yet. So maybe tomorrow, Aaron. I mailed them out all on Friday. So yours should be coming tomorrow. All right. I think Los will join us after the game. His computer's in the other room. I just moved my laptop out to the family room. Okay, so we got shotgun Purdy, straight back, empty backfield. He's going to get sacked. Yes, no, he gets away, but then he gets sacked. They got him. So he's sacked. And this is the time of game, guys, where This is the time game that where Kyle tends to falter because he's able to script the first few series. He's able to script everything, but when the game gets tight, they have a horrible record in the fourth quarter. They're minus 53 on the season. I guess you could make it minus 56 so far right now because the Lions just put up that field goal. So what was it? What was the score going? Hold on, let me look here. The Lions they scored the one touchdown. Was it at the end of the third quarter? Let me look here, guys. Let's see. Okay, so let me see when they scored. Scoring plays. Ooh, Pearsall's having a really good game tonight. Good to see. He just caught a pass out on the sideline there. Okay, so Detroit, did they score that touchdown in the fourth quarter? Yeah. No. I don't know. I can't tell. Somebody tell me, did that Detroit touchdown to put them ahead, was that in the fourth or the end of the third? All right, here we go. Purdy, straight shotgun, empty backfield. He's looking, throws. He's got Pearsall again. I don't know why anybody would play the 49ers in a zone. Why wouldn't you go man-to-man? You see how man-to-man works with every other team that goes man-to-man. They shut the 49ers down. Pearsall, what does he have tonight? About 8 catches? Let me see what the box score says. Ricky Pearsall has 7 catches, 131 yards, and a touchdown. 1st and 10, Niners at their own 48-yard line. Purdy under center. Guerrero in the backfield, single back. He hands off. No, he play fakes. He rolls out to the right. He's looking down the field to the left. He's got wide open Kittle at the 28. He gets tackled down to the 26. Wow. Niners are looking like they did last year. We got a flag on the play, though. Let's see what it is. Yeah, Niners are looking much better. I don't know where this was all year. Let me see what the flag is here. Hold on. All right, ineligible receiver downfield. Is that Barch? Oh, Austin Pleasance or Peasant. I don't know who that is. All right. Well, that negates that big play. That was a 25-yard play negated by the penalty. That sets them back at their own 38. Now it's just a 5-yard penalty. Okay. 1st and 15 from their 43. Purdy in the shotgun. Huschek in the backfield. Snap straight back. He looks, 2-step drop, throws it out to the outside to Jennings, gets it for about a 3, maybe 4-yard gain. We got another flag on the field. What's this call? Let's see what this one is. Might be a little personal foul or something. Oh, wait, Jennings. Oh, they got the second man. They didn't get Jennings is pushing his face mask. Oh, he pushed him over. That was it. Wow. That gives the 49ers a first down. Spencer Stewart says, what a dummy. Yes. Dummy. I don't know if you're a Niner fan, you want to win this game or you rather have a better draft pick for the season? Purdy play fakes over the middle, picked off. He's got it at the 50, down to the 42-yard line. Purdy picked off again. Wow. Just the safety just cut right in front of the play. Whoa. Oh, Purdy was going for Pearsall. Did not see the safety cut underneath. Cut right underneath Pearsall. Wow. There we go. This is where the Lions try to put you away. They take no prisoners, no mercy. They're going to go try to put the game out of reach, possibly with a touchdown. I don't think the Lions would go for a field goal here if they have to, but I think they want to put this to bed. Keith Trick Cottrell says, if they pay Brock, we will never win a Super Bowl. Yeah, I don't think they should. I mean, I like Brock. Unless you can get somebody better, you got to go with him, but you don't have to pay him the $60 million or even the $50 million. I think I'd go about $40 million. I think I'd go $40 million with, if you got to eat some of that money after, if he's just not that, if he's not it, Oh boy. Well, guys, it's been an entertaining game, at least. At least it's been a very entertaining game. All right, looking at the replay here, you got Jennings split to the left, Pearsall to the right, and then Pearsall cut over the middle. That's good, thanks. He just jumped the route. Wow, yeah. That's not difficult to do if you're a safety and you read that. You can see where the play's coming in front of you. You see one receiver that's in your field of vision. You can see where he's going, so you know the ball's coming that way. Okay, handoff to Gibbs. He takes it off left tackle for a gain of about 8. It's 2nd and 2. All right. Got to put my glasses on. I can't read the chat without my glasses. Is this the Niners' highest scoring game since playing the Rams? 28? It might be, Lisa. They used to put up 30 regularly last year and the year before. Yeah, Steven, I did see him hit the table, Lynch. Yeah, this is all right. 2nd and 2, 6:45 to go. They hand off to Gibbs. He squeezes his way through the line and gets the first down. He's to midfield. Lions could just run this clock out. Clock moving, 6:25, 20 seconds to go on the play clock. So they'll run it all the way down to about 6:05 or they snap the next one. First down, right at midfield. Goff under center. He hands it off to, that's Reynolds. Yeah, Reynolds. I always get, Reynolds picks up 5. 2nd and 5 with the clock moving. Will be under 6 minutes to go. 2 key interceptions tonight. There was nobody around Pearsall, but there was 2 or 3 defensive guys for the Lions right there. All right. 2nd and 6, Goff under center. Reynolds in the backfield. Amon St. Brown goes in motion to the right. Goff play fakes, rolls out, throws to Brown. He's got the first down. No, that's Williams. Sorry. That's Williams, number 9. First down, clock's moving, 5:10 to go. Oh, they put 30 on the Cowgirls. That's right, Eddie. I think. All right. You know, Steven, they've been my Super Bowl pick all year from the beginning in preseason, the Lions, but I'm kind of thinking they're going to have a tough time getting through the NFC with their defense. Okay, handoff to Reynolds up the middle. He picks up 5. So it's 2nd and 5. I love Detroit's offense. I love the ingenuity, play calling of Ben Johnson. I'm just not crazy about their defense. If they can get some guys back on defense, they have a shot. But again, Detroit has to win the division to go to the Super Bowl. They haven't had a game off since week 5. They cannot go in and have to win 3 games on the road without a break. They need to bye in the worst way. I'm thirsty. Okay. So I guess he gained 4, 2nd and 6. It's a long 5, I call it. Okay, Goff play fakes. He's got him in the flat. He's got Laporta. Laporta down to the 30-yard line. 3rd and 2 now. I don't know. Thought he marked that wrong, but thought he got to the 30. They're going to call it the 30 and a half. Rich, your mom's bowling team could put 30 on the Cowboys. Yeah, Iron Horse. I don't know why Kyle just throws the ball. 10 straight passes. He loses his ingenuity. He loses when he doesn't have the ability to script everything. He freezes and just goes to the pass. Okay, 3rd and 2. Goff is in shotgun. Hurry up, snap. 1 second. He hands it off to Gibbs. He's going to get the first down and more. He's to the 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Detroit. Wow. Jahmyr Gibbs just, man, he is fast. Wow. He got on the outside and he just motored. Okay, will they go for 2? I think they will go for 2. They're up by 12. I could see the Lions going for 2 here to put it up 2 touchdowns. There's no reason to go up 13. That 13th point doesn't mean anything. I think you go for 2 here. No, they're going for 1. I don't know why you wouldn't go for 2 with 2:58 to go. He missed the extra point. That serves you right, Campbell. What are you thinking? What the heck are you thinking? Now he's starting to realize I should have went for 2. 13 points is nothing. You need 2 touchdowns. I don't understand. You don't have like some coordinator that tells you when to go for 2 and not like, hey, Dan, put it in the ear. If you go for 1, it means nothing if we're up 13. We need to – it's like 2:58 to go in the game. I know I'm harping on something that's probably meaningless, but it just irritates me when coaches when they do dumb things. Just, geez. They need 2 touchdowns, 49ers. If you're up by 14, at least you know you're a lot safer than 12. Something can happen. All right. So 40-28. Kickoff by Bates goes to the Debo, takes it at the goal line. He crosses the 20. He's to the 25. He's hit at the 27, and down he goes. And there's a ball. Is the ball loose? Oh, guy in the Niners picked it up and is running it all the way in for a touchdown, but he was downed. Let's see what we got here. Does Detroit have the ball? What's going on? The officials are meeting. Hold on. I'm going to mute this and listen to the game here. Okay, Detroit has the ball, but he doesn't know it. Guy was laying on the ball, and then he got up. Let's see what they call here. Let's see. Crazy. Hold on. I'll mute this so you can't hear it. Okay, San Francisco recovery. All right. San Francisco recovers. Boy, Detroit should have had the ball. Didn't even know the ball was out. Yeah, defense definitely, Steven, needs fixed. All right, so Purdy in shotgun at the 27. Houston Guarendo's in the backfield, throws over the middle. Kittle, he gets gain of 7. He's down to the 35. Clock moving, 2:44. Let's see. Oh, the 49ers got to go to a huddle, but they don't practice the no huddle. The no huddle. Here they go. Back to Purdy. He throws it over. He's got Guarendo, and he takes it to the 48 and gets out of bounds with 2:30 to go. All right, 2.5 to go. Watch the Niners take it all the way and put it in the end zone. Did anyone predict a similar score? I don't know. I think I had 34-17. I did have 34-21. Okay, Purdy being rushed. He gets away. He escapes. He throws it down the field long, out of bounds. Okay, 2nd and 10, 2:22 to go. Sure would have liked to have seen Tanner Mordecai see what he could do. I mean, are we seeing Brock Purdy play himself out of a major contract? Wow, 2 fourth quarter interceptions. Was the first one in the fourth quarter? I can't remember. All right, shotgun. Purdy straight back, drops, looks to the left. He's got Jennings out on the sideline. Jennings doesn't get out of bounds. Why he would try and gain an extra yard is beyond me. That's just foolish, undisciplined football. Get your butt out of bounds. And he takes it right to the 2-minute warning. Could have got out of bounds with 2:10 to go. 3rd and 2. He wasn't getting the first down. Now you got 2 minutes. So this will put the Lions. Hang on, I'll win my bet. First one was in the 3rd quarter, YouTube says. Okay, first pick was in the 3rd quarter. We got a lot of comments in here. Purdy has to go, says Robert Newkirk. What else we got? Yeah, Eddie K. Surprise, surprise. He brings all the stops out tonight. Season's over. Brings all the offensive ingenuity back. Starts throwing the ball downfield. Jeez. Yeah, this game was supposed to be for the number 1 seed the beginning of the year, right? I'm just shocked that Detroit is going to be 14-2 and hasn't even clinched their division. That is so rare. So rare. 14-2 and not. I think the 49ers in I want to say it was the 89 season. They went 14-2. Let me look that up. LA Rams were a tough team for them that year. And they played some really tough games, and they played in the NFC Championship. Let me see what the 1988 NFL standings were, because I remember that year. Okay, in the NFC conference, the Niners went, 88. Oh, I hit 88. I meant 89. 89. That's what I said first, but then I hit in 88. All right. 89 NFL standings. 49ers were 14-2 and the Rams were 11-5. Okay. All right. So here we go. We got 3rd and 2, 49ers. 2 minutes to go. Purdy in the backfield, shotgun. Throws. He's got Pearsall. Pearsall again. See, Pearsall's just sitting down in that zone tonight. He's looking really good, but he's open. Okay, 49ers in the hurry-up offense. Okay, Purdy. Oh, he's going to get hit from behind. Oh, boy, a blitz from Branch. Branch came around the right side and just blindsided. Purdy just ducked at the last minute. Should say last second, or he would have been his clock cleaned. He was able to absorb the hit when he kind of lowered. He saw him just out of the corner of his eye and ducked. Wow. That could have been really ugly if he didn't turn and see him. Okay, so the 49ers use one of their 3 timeouts. There's 1:36 to go. That was a loss of 7. 2nd and 17. All right, here we go. Oh, Dobbs is in now. We taking Purdy out now for. Did he get a little? Did he see enough? Did he get hurt? What's going on? Okay, Josh Dobbs is in. Gets the scramble. Dobbs straight back to pass, and he fires over the middle. He's got Jennings. Jennings trying to get out of bounds. Does he get out of bounds? He does with a dive. Gets the ball out of bounds. Nice pass by Dobbs. Had a little zip. What's Purdy doing? He's just leave him out. Don't put him back in. Just leave him out. It's the end of the season. No need to risk an injury. What do we got? A timeout? What are they going to review something? What's going on? Hold on. Oh, they're trying to see if he was down in bounds or not. Oh, Purdy. How's he ruled in bounds? Come on, he dove out of bounds. He's not. He dove. Ball's out of bounds. The hand. Oh, come on. Man, they've gotten really chintzy with that. I don't know what's wrong with Brock. Did he get shoulder? I don't know if that was his shoulder or his head. He's got his helmet off. Brock's. Oh, they're checking the right wrist. Right wrist. Well, let's see Mordecai next week. No need to see Josh Dobbs. All right, 1:19 to go. Niners still have 2 timeouts. Dobbs is in the shotgun formation. He's got, looks like Patrick Taylor back there. All right, snap to Dobbs. He looks, he throws out to the sideline. He's got Jennings. Get out of bounds, Jennings. He does. What do you mean they're running the clock? What happened? How do you not get out of bounds anymore? What the heck is the problem? Why was Shanahan is ticked? He's ticked that the refs didn't stop the clock when he went out of bounds. Jennings went right out of bounds and they didn't stop the clock. Aaron Purdy's grimacing. Nose cameras are on him. Wow. He busted his wing again, Eddie says. Hopefully now we don't play him. All right, Dobbs. The Niners have the ball down to the 7-yard line. 54 seconds left. Shotgun. Taylor in the backfield. Dobbs looking. He throws a lofted in the corner of the end zone out of bounds. I just don't understand that one play. What do you got to do nowadays to stop the clock to go out of bounds? Jennings went right out of bounds. I don't get it. All right, 50 seconds to go. Broke. Come on, talk more Giants until 12. Okay, Dobbs rush. He's flushed out of the pocket. He runs. He's going to try. He gets into the end zone. Touchdown. 43 seconds left. Now, if they recover the onside kick, that would be wild because the Niners, because he didn't go for 2 points. Did Dobbs get the ball over? No, I don't think he did. Did he get it over? He didn't put the. I'm not sure if he got that in or not. Ooh, that looks like. Wow. Guess they're going to give it to him. That was close. Okay, Moody. Jake Moody should make the extra point. Hopefully the poor guy does. He missed it. The guy's going to be cut. Wow. Poor Jake Moody. Work all your life for this, and then you just choke it away. He missed the extra point. It wasn't even that close. Oh, boy. 43 seconds left. Now we got the onside kick. Okay. Jeez. Lisa says, would it be bad to mention that I'm a Rams fan too? Nah. Oh, boy. All right, here we go. Ricardo says Moody's a joke. Eddie. That's pretty funny. All right. Here we go with the onside kick. Moody lining up to kick it over to the left side of the field. He kicks it hard. He goes it right out of bounds. Oh, my goodness. He just kicked it so hard. This guy's got to go. He can't kick. He has no touch. Wow. He has no touch. He just drilled it out of. I've never seen an onside kick so bad. Oh my gosh. Hold on here. I got to take 1 sec, guys. All right. I got to send Lou Marston back from assignment. So I will send Lou. Okay, the Lions just down it. That's going to end the ball game. The last play of the game. No, there's one more play to be made. There's 2 seconds difference in the play clock. Just got to down it one more time. All right, guys. Hey, Mark Graves in the house. All right, 1 sec, guys. I just got to do this so I can get Lou in here. Send. 1 sec, guys. All right. Try and do everything all at once. Tough to do. All right. So the Lions win 40-35. I get my bet. It scores. I had the Lions minus 3.5, so they cover. The 49ers are just not a good football team, folks. Not a good football team, not a good second half team. They cannot script things. Wow. All right. So, yeah, sad to see, but it is over for Jake Moody. I don't see how you have him come back. I mean, he could be great in the practice. They say he's a great kicker in practice. Something happens to him in the game. Freezes up. I don't know. That 58-yarder wasn't too bad tonight. He almost got it, just a little off to the left. But so, what do you guys think? Niners are now 6-10. What's your thoughts on Kyle Shanahan? Most people, he's already been given a vote of confidence by Jed York. Him and John Lynch, they're definitely not going anywhere, according to Jed York. So they're coming back. Is that the right move? I mean, this team clearly is an undisciplined football team. I mean, I don't know why the Lions play man coverage. And here he is. We welcome him back all the way from assignment. Lou Marston in wearing his version of the Detroit Lions. I got my Detroit Lions shirt on. Hey, Lou, I won a bet.
That's what we like to hear.
I won a bet.
Did you tell everybody about your suicide pool that you listened to somebody else instead of yours truly?
I didn't, guys. Right. I was in a suicide pool or survivor pool. I was 21-0. There was 8,138 entries. I was down to the final 21. And I meant to pick Seattle Thursday night, but I didn't realize they were playing Thursday night with the holidays. I got busy, turned the TV on. It was like, oh, crap, Seattle's playing. I was going to pick them. So I was left to pick 2 games on Sunday. I got the Raiders right, and Lou told me to take Jacksonville over Tennessee. Ryan told me to take Tennessee. My brother told me to take Tennessee. Some of the people on the so-called experts told me to take Tennessee as I was researching. Anyway, Tennessee lost. I'm out. I lost my shot at winning the survivor pool, which was a $10,000 prize.
Well, Dan, the one thing I did want to tell you, hey, Spence, how you doing, buddy? First of all, it's good to be back.
Yeah, welcome back, Lou. Good to see you.
Thanks. But I did follow the shows. Hopefully the chats caught my stuff. In your survival pool, There is a very big pool in Las Vegas, and they were down to their final 61 out of 27,000. The winner gets $2 million.
Oh my
And 18
gosh.
people got eliminated because they all bet Indy. So now they're down to 43 left. So not only were you 1/4 of the people left in the biggest pool out there in the United States also bet Indy. And what's crazy about that is Indy was minus 320, which basically is either 8 or 8.5 point favorites. And, everyone thought, hey, the Giants are going to lose. They have the number 1 pick. People don't realize not only did it hurt Dan, now the Giants aren't going to get the number 1 pick.
I didn't pick that game. I didn't pick the Giants.
Oh, I thought you bet Indy against Giants. Who did you bet?
No, I didn't pick Indy. I took Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's what.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, we welcome in Lou. Lou's a happy man tonight. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Hey, that line looked too easy tonight. 3.5.
No.
A little closer than I thought.
A little tighter than we thought, for sure. For sure. Good game, though. Real good game.
I mean, like I said at the beginning when I came on by myself, Los, I said I'd never bet against the Niners to lose in a game that had meaning. It's just let's just put it this way: I wouldn't be rooting for them to lose. I might still bet against them, but I wouldn't mind losing tonight. No way I wanted to lose this bet because this game meant nothing for the Niners.
Yeah. And, hey, props to a lot of their players. They had nothing to play for. They played like gladiators. Gladiators 2 in theaters right now, by the way. Pretty good movie. Not as good as the original, but pretty good. But, yeah, so many layers to this games and so many things to talk about. Apparently, Jed York was interviewed by Tim Kawakami.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he pretty much said, no matter what, that Kyle is coming back and Lynch for that matter. So here we are. And, we're going to have another year or more years to deal with, his ways. I doubt he changes, but, you never know. And I don't know. We'll see what happens with Purdy, but it looks like he got dinged up there at the end of the game. And if he gets hurt, if he has like a broken or something with his wrist in a meaningless game towards the end, wow, that's going to be even more fire.
Yeah, I mean, why not play Tanner Mordecai, see what you got? But you got to know what you got going into next year. Do you have a backup quarterback? Do you need to draft a quarterback? What's the point of playing Purdy when he's coming back, but you don't know what you got? You're not probably planning on bringing Dobbs or Allen back, so you got to see if Mordecai is good enough to be a backup. And if he's not, then you go, I gave him 2 games, full games, gave him a pressure game on a Monday night against, a Super Bowl contender, and then a road game, and we see what he's up to. We can evaluate him. But no, they don't do that. And Lisa gonna run until next time. Okay, Lisa, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. All right. And Bill M is in the house. And Los, I'm going to let you take this over, you and I'm going to sit here in the background, and then you guys share. Then I think after about 10 minutes or so of you and Lou, I'll open it up for some callers to come in.
Okay.
All right. Los, you want to go first, or what you thought of the game and everything, or?
Yeah.
Why don't you go first, and then I'll come by after, because, I probably have like 3 things I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
But please go ahead, because I always liked hearing what you think.
Appreciate it. So, just kind of looking at my phone and looking at Twitter and X and social media as the game was going on, a lot of people coming on here saying, hey, where are you Brockaders now? What do you got to say right now? It's just laughable that people would come on and say that Brock was playing against arguably the worst defense in the league right now with everything they got going on. And Brock looks good against average to poor defenses. And Brock looks great for 3 quarters. But again, in the fourth quarter, when the money's on the line and when it counts, him and Kyle, I'm not going to say too much about Kyle. I thought he coached a good game. I thought he had a good game plan. Funny how he has a great game plan when nothing is on the line. Funny how he's not aggressive. Where was all this play calling and reverses and counters and misdirections against the Rams when there was an opportunity to be in the playoffs? He's going to throw all that stuff out there right now because he heard all week that Ben Johnson is the hot coach. Ben Johnson is the great play caller. So Kyle's ego, which we know he has a large one, got offended, and he said, oh, let me show you what I can do. That's what you should have been doing most of the year, when you were healthy and when you were not healthy, but you didn't. So that kind of speaks for itself. Brock Purdy, it's hard for me to say anything against him because I really like the kid. I really like him as a player. But again, I have to be honest. And again, when you don't show up and when you don't play well in fourth quarters, when the games are on the line, that's the difference between max quarterbacks. That's the difference between elite superstar quarterbacks and just very good to good quarterbacks. So it's a shame that he had to throw another pick late in the game when the game was on the line. But that's what happened. And my last point that I'll say is kind of maybe out of left field. Guerrero, if you ever get any kind of vision, boy, that kid could be special. He has so much physical talent, but he doesn't have the vision to see holes or to be patient and pick holes. If Bobby Turner can work with him and just teach him to be a little bit patient and maybe use a little jump cut to the side where the hole is and use his eyes, man, the kid can catch it. He's got blazing speed, and I would like to see him develop a little bit more. Take it, Lou.
Well, first of all, it's good to see one of my favorite Niners of all time make an appearance again tonight, Mr. Hanks. Martin Hanks, of course, made an appearance tonight twice. The famous duck walk.
That's hilarious.
After an interception.
Yeah.
I will tell you tonight, if you watch the whole game, you sort of forgot that the Niners actually led 21-13 at half.
Mm-hmm.
Because the second half, they were totally outclassed. I completely agree. People don't realize that the defensive team of the Lions have 12 guys out. 12. That's more than the whole entire starting lineup. So I'm sick and tired of everybody talking about the Niners saying, oh, well, if we had CMC in, we'd be better. Oh, if we had, our wide receiver. Guys, it happens in the NFL. Yep. It comes back to something that Lowe brought up 6 weeks ago. If you guys listen, it's the personnel that we have, right? The other thing is, I think too many times we don't talk about what coaches do at halftime. You know, you bring up Ben Johnson with literally maybe 20% of his defense. He shut down, and I mean shut down the Niners in the second half. Don't count that last touchdown, okay? They were outscored at home 27-7, okay? And the same shit keeps happening, sorry my French, every part of the Niners season. The kicking game, which is a joke, a complete joke, okay? He can't make a field goal. And when I get back to coaching, why in the hell are you attempting a 58-yarder when the guy already missed a 51-yarder? You know he's shaky. I mean, it's like just some of these decisions are unbelievable that, you know what? I could see a freshman high school coach makes better decisions than some of our decisions we do, okay? The other thing, our play calling in the first half was so predictable. And again, we did the same thing. And I know it comes back to personnel, but we did the same plays. Debo. We got to get him so involved. Debo. You know what? I'll be happy next year if we don't bring back Debo. You know, we got to do something different. And then last,
hold on, Lou. Hold on. Yeah, Kyle. Now? So it's only one game. You want me? Okay. Well, let me have my agent give you a call back and we'll work this out. Okay. Hey, I just got a call from Kyle. They've already got me a uniform.
There you go.
Look.
There you go.
I am. They got my name on the back.
So poetic justice and ironic is Kyle's
I got a
reaction.
job.
There you go, Coach.
Kyle's
I'm back.
Kyle's facial expression and reaction on every moody miss. You go to the mirror. Kyle, please go to the mirror tonight when you get home to your bathroom. Look in the mirror and do this. Because you were the one, along with your staff, that chose Jake Moody in the 3rd round. You also decided to pick a punter in the 4th round. You never pick kickers and punters before round 7, maybe round 7.
You know what that is, Los?
That's called stupidity.
Arrogance. It's stupidity and arrogance, thinking, oh, we don't need any other players that can make this team. We're stacked. We've stacked our roster, so we can afford to use a 3rd and a 4th.
Just so ignorant. And this is what Jed York, despite all these errors that we have outlined, that we have explained, that we have detailed, Jed is going to just run it back. And when we hit, camp next summer and OTAs and these same players, God, I feel so bad for our core players that just killed themselves to try to win a Super Bowl. I just feel so bad for them because they have to come back knowing this same coach with his same stupid philosophies. And I'm not even going to study the draft. One of my joys is studying college players in the draft and seeing, God, who could really be good for the Niners? For the first time in a while, I'm not even going to do it this year because I know the Niners are not going to draft those players. I could fall in love with a few offensive linemen. They're not going to be drafted until maybe round 5 or 6. I'm not gonna study whatsoever because Kyle is going to do what he does and reach for picks in the first 3 rounds, and then he'll turn it over to the scouts, and then the scouts will do well rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. So, hey, Jed York, run it back and don't complain when you're 500 again next year.
Yeah, and Los, one of the other things tonight is
let me get this super chat real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I got it up. No worries. Kyle outthinks himself with respect to those field goals. No way you should be kicking there. And his play calling all year has been S. Yeah, it's been rough, Bill. Thanks. Go ahead, Lou.
Sure, you can see the difference between coaching, offense, defense, and special teams. But what I wanted to bring up tonight is at the very end, in a game that means nothing, we don't know what happened to Brock. A guy did a blitz. He fell down. You could tell his facial expression. Something might be worse than we think.
Yeah.
There's no reason to play him next week. Okay. But the thing I was going to talk about, and we've talked about this a few times, and when Dan goes live and watches the last quarter, right, is he makes these interceptions that the average quarterback doesn't. Both of those plays today were forces where the guy was open, he overthrew him, because if you watch, they really emphasized tonight how the defense was for the Lions. They had 2 guys that were up, and then they went all the way back, and then they had one guy that basically would be freelancing and would go trying to get the ball. Both times, those interceptions should have never have happened. If he throws it to where the guy is, it hits the guy in the hands. And we got to realize, and I know Dan spoke about this, is Brock not zinging it like he used to because he's injured? Or is this just him? And
he doesn't have great arm strength.
Yeah, and it's going to be crucial. What do we want to sign him for? I would be happy if they say, hey, guys, let's give him, 6 years, $240 million, right? But talking about giving this guy 50, 60 million, I know, everyone thinks he deserves it, but he doesn't. Okay, he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. So let's put it right there. He's not a world champion. Second of all, do people realize what happens if they pay him the max? The Niners will have so little money on the cap. They're not going to be able to get any free agents. They're not going to be able to maybe sign guys more that we need. And then guess what? We're going to be in worse shape with an above average quarterback next year. Okay, we don't know how these injuries are going to be. We don't know if CMC is ever going to be 100% again. It's a huge thing. So if I just hope Brock and his agents realize, listen, We don't need 60 million. We don't need to be the number one quarterback. First of all, the pressure, if he's the highest paid quarterback, is going to be unbelievable, right? Because everyone's going to say he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. Why does he deserve it? You got to do what's best for the team. Give him like a nice $40 million deal. Or maybe this isn't the year to give him the max. I know he's qualified, but they don't have to do it.
They don't have to. Exactly.
Yeah.
I've
you
said
got to
that.
think what's best for the team. And that's where I'm going to really emphasize, this offseason, if they don't come through and they have another mediocre, get rid of it. It's going to have to do the Farhan move. Someone's going to have to get in, because you can just see the difference this whole season. The players, the veterans, are so pissed off when they interview them, right? And it's just to the point now where, this team's not even fun to watch. I'm not going to watch them next week when they go against Arizona. Why? That's all I'm going to say.
A couple of things. Purdy usually has a poker face. He usually is very stoic. He looked pretty pissed off at the end of that game. If he has a bad injury, and he was doing this with his wrist, flexing his wrist, and if it's his throwing hand, if Kyle played him and got him hurt, I mean, he played a great game today for the most part, but they were down 12, and Purdy, that game couldn't be won, and he kept him in there. And what a shock. The Niners offensive line, whether it's first string, second string, third string, practice squad, give up a sack late in the fourth quarter on a blitz. Wow. We haven't seen that before in a big game or in a regular game or in an exhibition game. Hold on, let me finish this, Dan. So if he costs Brock money, and let's be real, Brock does not deserve 60 or 50 or 40 million, but he's also been very underpaid. And with the Trey Lance disaster that was all Kyle, Brock Purdy kind of saved the Niners. So think about that. They went all in on Trey Lance, and the guy was a bust, and they gave up a lot of stock for him. And that's pretty much a fireable offense. And here comes this kid out of nowhere, and he plays damn well. And that's why I like Brock, and that's why I think Brock should get money. He's been making $900K for the last few years, playing at a $30 million rate. He deserves to get a raise, not 50, 60, absolutely not. But if he's hurt, and if it's a wrist that's going to keep him out a part of next year, he's not even going to get close to that. And now you've really taken some money out of Brock's pocket, possibly. They're going to let him play out his rookie contract now if he is hurt. We'll see what it's like. The last thing, one more point I wanted to make is Jed and John Lynch should have exit interviews at the end of the season. I just said that the players have already, in my opinion, kind of lost faith with Kyle. Don't believe me. Don't believe Grant. Don't believe Dan. Don't believe any of us that have gone against Kyle. Ask your freaking players. Ask your core players. In a nominee, basically they're not going to say who said what. Go to Fred Warner. Go to Nick Bosa. Go to Dre Greenlaw. Go to Lenore. Don't go to Debo and Juice because they're Kyle's buddies from Cabo. Go to your core players that are not friends with Kyle, that are just his players, and just ask them straight up, how do you feel about Kyle? I won't say anything. This stays in this room. Ask them and see what they say. See what they say.
Yeah. I think with Brock, I don't think you can fault Kyle for playing him, but when they were down 12 at the end of the game, that's when you take him out.
Right.
Because that's when you're prone to injury, because you're not going to come back. There's no plan for the rush. It's just full on, it's like you said, they got him on a blitz, but they're just playing pass rush only. So they're teeing off on the offensive lineman, and you got a lousy offensive line. So why are you playing him at that point? I don't think you can fault him for starting him simply because Brock wants to play. But you have to protect your asset at a point when you have to look at it and go, what's the point of playing him now? The season's over. We're down 12. There's 2 minutes to go. What are we going to gain out of this? And so hopefully it's just a sprain of the wrist or whatever it was. They were saying it was the wrist.
I'm
and
reading
the other
something.
thing-
I'm reading something that it could be a shoulder or an elbow, which is interesting. He's already had an elbow issue.
Oh gosh, if it's the elbow, I wonder if that's why he had the grimace. Like, not again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and Dan, you know what's ironic is it was a 12-point game, but it felt more like a 20-point game because the interception, they went down, they scored. And I think this is the most ironic thing is everyone told Dan Campbell, do not play all your starters. The game means nothing. Next week's for first round. You might get somebody injured. And what happens? It's the Niners and their most important player that gets injured.
I sure hope it's
just
not his
unbelievable.
elbow. That would be bad. I would feel really bad for Brock.
I would too. I would
really be like, dang, if I hope he had an insurance policy. I hope he took out an insurance policy with Lloyd's of London that, because that dude, I mean, if I would like to think, what, if he wasn't going to get the big money, I'll tell you one owner that would take care of him, and that would be Eddie D. He'd say, you know what, maybe your career is not going to be what take off, but here's $25 million.
Like he did Jeff Fuller.
Yep. He would do that because he would say, Bud, we rode you. We could have given you, well, I guess he wasn't eligible to be by rules to negotiate a new contract till this off season. So
it was interesting to see Kyle and Ben Johnson kind of go head to head with play calling. And for a half, Kyle was right there with them, called a really good game. But I want people to understand that watch this game. When it came down to it in the fourth quarter, one of those play callers relied on their running game. One of those play callers relied on their running game. You have an 80% chance of having a negative play or a turnover if you throw the ball. Kyle has done this his whole career in the fourth quarter. His butt cheeks tighten up and he goes away from the running game and he has to throw.
Can you repeat that again? Can you repeat that again?
His booty cheeks tightened up and he forgets about the running game. And Ben Johnson leaned on his running game and leaned on his offensive line. Hey, you know what? For backups, the Niners offensive line played pretty decently. So I just want people to think about that. Jed York, you already committed to Kyle coming back. You saw another play caller actually lean on a running game in the fourth quarter with a lead. That's how you win games. That's how you protect leads.
Let me say one other thing, too, about Brock's second interception, because, Lou, you said it was an overthrow. It was actually, he threw into double, triple coverage. I got to look at it again.
Watch it again. Let's watch it. The two DBs went back. He thought the guy was wide open. The guy was standing there. He just jumped the route. It wasn't double teamed.
Well, he jumped the route, but yes, if you look at the play, the field of play, what Brock had to see was there was a zone and there was like three people within the zone.
And two guys went back, and he thought the guy was wide open. The guy jumped the route,
and he jumped it right. I was watching something earlier today on Netflix with Aaron Rodgers. If you guys haven't seen that, it's called an Enigma. Go watch it. It's about Rodgers getting from his high school days to getting hurt with the Jets to getting drafted and playing at Green Bay. And then, when he hurt his Achilles and all that, and he was sharing about something. He's really into numbers, and he was showing the play of field. And he said, you could go, he says it's all in his mind. He goes, everything is situational. Down.
Makes sense.
Distance and down. Distance down where you're at in the field. He starts drawing on the field. He goes, I could go to this route here. That's a 20% completion. I could go here. That's 30. I could go here in the middle here, 40, or I can go right here. It's 90. And that's why his completion percentage is so high, because he thinks, what's the highest percentage for what's needed. The situational football. And I'm telling you, Brock hasn't learned that yet. He goes for the bigger play when the check down is right there. Just take the 90%. You watch Goff. That's what Goff does a lot. Just checks it down to the backs, goes for the quick little out for the first down, doesn't try and throw the 20-yard pass on 3rd and 4. Just get the first down.
And another point that should be brought up is Kyle told us all year Devondre Campbell is better than D Winters.
Jeez.
All year long, he was asked in press conferences, is Jalen Graham or D Winters going to get any run? No, we feel real good about Devondre Campbell. Forget about him walking out on the team and not going into the game. How did he play for most of the year? Horrible. He stayed and kept his job. How has Jake Brendel played all year at center? Horrible. He stayed and kept his job. How has Kyle Juszczyk at fullback played all year? Horrible. Kept his job. How has Deebo Samuel played for pretty much for all year, minus a few games? Horrible. Kept his job. Do you see my point? Do you see my point about the stubbornness? You keep players that are not playing well in any other sport. Steve Kerr does not play players when they're playing well. You're out of there. Hey, you're off tonight. You're not playing well. Your minutes are going to be down. You're not shooting well. You're making dumb decisions. Sit down. Baseball players, when they get cold, they take a seat. Kyle keeps guys in that are not playing well, and he keeps guys on the bench that when they get a chance to play, wow, where was this all of a sudden? D Winters can play. We still don't know what Jacob Cowan can do. Lord have mercy if he gets in with his speed and actually shows something. Roster politics, because we can't show up Ricky Pearsall, who had a good game today. But I want to see Ricky Pearsall do that against a good defense. Not against
Whoa, look at this. Like Shanahan thinks it's Purdy's elbow, but unclear if it's the UCL.
Yeah, I'm actually reading some saying it's elbow, but it's a nerve. He's having problems with his nerve.
Man, that's elbow. That's a fireable offense, man. That's another fireable offense. Like I said, he played a good game. Once you're down 12, get him out of there. That's your quarterback that you're going to re-sign. And now you hurt him, and now you hurt the franchise and the organization by keeping him in there. Ooh, he's going to get heat tonight, but Jed York will keep him. He can do no wrong, man. I swear, Kyle could have a DUI tomorrow, and he'll keep his job. He's untouchable. Kevin Costner, untouchable. He can do no wrong at all.
Well, you lose next week. You might end up with a top 10 pick, which might allow you to trade up.
That'll be a reach wherever they get.
Start all over again. Are you going to have to go look for another quarterback now? Are you going to have to go for Sanders or who's the other kid that's
Cam Ward, Miami?
Cam Ward, that's right.
Yeah, he'll probably be in the top 5. And our schedule next year is a 4th place schedule. If you look, the home schedule might be the worst I've seen in 20 years. There's not one game I would go down to Levi's to actually see their opponent. It's that bad. It was announced yesterday who their schedule is going to be. It's horrible. So a lot of problems.
Philip says he knows Kevin Costner. I know Kevin Costner got a dog at the same place where I got Buster. Same breeder.
Oh, nice.
Up in Prunedale, down there, kind of heading toward closer to Salinas. That's where I got Buster.
And The Untouchables just came to my mind. It's one of my favorite movies, filmed in Chicago. And
Cam Ward quit at halftime in a bowl game.
He opted out.
He opted out for his health.
Opted out.
Look, I mean,
at least he played the first half.
Yeah, he didn't even have to play. Most guys don't even play.
Yeah, there's a lot of college players that they're not going to risk getting injured and ruin their livelihood.
And it wasn't even his choice. The coach recommended it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and you can't say. The other thing,
I'm really hoping for Brock that it's nothing major. If that is, and man.
And what do the Niners have to do? And don't tell me Shanahan's going to get his head out of his ass and get Cousins. I do not want to hear that.
No, you don't want Cousins.
Hey, I was just going to say that. Lou, if he brings Cousins in here to start because Brock's hurt, oh my God. All of us
mean,
that
you
have
can
been
see
against,
he's
all of
been
us that have
talking
been,
about it for 10 years. The same
all of us that have been
BS.
against Kyle are going to
Yep.
completely go off on him and the organization. Like Niner fans need to see what's going on here. You know,
And we'd have to give up something to get him. You know, I mean,
Hey.
obviously, you know, he still has 2 years, 30. I mean, what is it, 30 or 35 each year is guaranteed. So that's 70 million. You have to give someone, and it'd be the dumbest move. I would literally, just for Kyle even bringing that up in a press conference, I'd fire him on the spot.
What you guys think of Pearsall tonight? See the one-handed catch he made on the sideline? And
I thought he played well, but like I saw some things online about him. Like again, where are the Pearsall haters at? Like just a stupid, idiotic comment. Like maybe his second good game all year long. I know he had a rough season. I know getting shot is like, I mean, just playing it all is a miracle. Props to him. But he was playing against a bad defense tonight. A defense that
horrible defense, and they just give. I don't understand why teams play zone defense against the Niners when you see that man coverage, even if it's not the greatest man coverage, if you don't have the best personnel for it, the Niners don't have the receivers because you don't have the offensive line that gives you enough time to block for Purdy to be able to make the plays for receivers to get reception. But if you're just sitting down in a zone, that's pretty. I mean, most quarterbacks in the NFL can pick apart a zone defense if they're going to give you.
Sean Crawley with the point that was Brock's 16th straight pass behind an offensive line that was patchwork, that was second and third
16
straight passes. I did not realize that. So again, and they were at that time. They were not down 2 scores. They were just down 1 score, and they were running the ball pretty well with Garendo and here and there with Debo. So he got away from the running game. And again, I want you to show the difference. You cannot tell me that Ben Johnson cannot be promoted and given the head coaching job and can be worse than Kyle. You cannot tell me that, because Ben Johnson believes in offensive line. And I know Ben Johnson believes in special teams. And I believe he's better in clock management. So many things. Dan, to your credit, I know you were a big Shanahan fan at the beginning of the year. And to your credit, and it wasn't because I was in his ear. Dan's his own man. He has eyes. He wears glasses, but he can see very well. He saw with his own eyes, and he saw little things that, he started taking mental notes on. So I wish you guys,
here you go,
again, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to turn people. I get nothing against Kyle. I just want people to understand and see that there's a lot of things about him that are very, very.
I saw it.
They're just swept under the rug. They're looked the other way. It's like, oh, no big deal. He still wins. It is a big deal when he doesn't have they talk about when Brock doesn't have the Avengers that he struggles. When Kyle doesn't have Avengers, he struggles. Keep that in mind. So
look at the teams. The earlier stat that I put up on the screen, let me show it to you guys again, because this is really interesting stat. I thought. Now I just lost it. Hold on. What's going on? Shoot. The stat that talked about from the first week, the teams that were supposed to be in the playoffs, that the percentages. Now I just lost it. Anyway, the Niners were the Chiefs were 79%. Oh, here it is. Check this out. Let me get it up there a little bit. Takes a while to focus. Come on. Hold on. Oh, there it is. All right. Okay. Entering week 1, Chiefs 79%, 49ers 78, Eagles 76, Lions 70. All 3 of the other teams made the playoffs except the Niners. So what does that tell you? This is not the first time that the 49ers season has just fallen completely apart. This is the 4th time
in 8 years.
Out of 8 years. We're talking under 500 for 4 years, and then NFC Championship the other 4 years and 2 Super Bowls out of those 4. It's
Fans
feast
like
or famine.
right. He can't deal with adversity. He's
No.
got to be a front runner. He's got to get out to leads. He has a 37% winning percentage in one-score games, which means when games are tight, again, the booty gets tight, and we start, throwing the ball all over the place, and we stop running. It's the same mistake. In the corporate world, if you make the same mistake as a manager or as a vice president or a CEO, if you make the same mistake and you're costing the company money, you're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're not suspended. You're fired if you make the same mistakes over and over and over again. And I'm sorry, Thomas B., nothing against you. You're a Niner fan. I respect that. But there's too many 49er fans that fall in love with a player or a coach. They don't put the organization as the top priority. They put a player or a coach. Guys like Thomas B. really thinks that if Kyle Shanahan leaves and if they have another good draft and come back with all this talent, that they're going to fall apart and they're going to be 4-13. If Joe Brady comes, if Ben Johnson.
What was
comes.
Kyle? What was Kyle before he became coach?
Kyle was an unproven coordinator when they hired him. What are you
Exactly.
talking about? He
That's
was an
All
unproven
because of his
coordinator.
last name. Because of his last name.
And what did
and his
Kyle
dad.
Shanahan do any different than Ben Johnson did?
Yeah,
Ben
you're
Johnson-
exactly right, Lou. If his name was Kyle Simpson instead of Shanahan, he would not be like, oh, he's proven he's a Shanahan. But because he's Shanahan, now why is it that Ben Johnson, who we saw his innovation tonight, that play where
Hook and
Amon St.
lateral.
Brown, hook and lateral, I did that all the time in flag football as a kid. That was awesome. He's playing flag football out here and getting it done. Let me ask you this, guys. I'm watching this game tonight, and I'm watching the sideline, and I'm watching Dan Campbell, and I'm thinking to myself, what is Dan Campbell doing while he's over on the sidelines? Because he's got Ben Johnson calling his other plays. He's got Aaron Glenn calling the defensive. What is Dan Johnson? He's watching, he's observing, he's into the game, he's thinking, and then when it's his time to make decisions, like on 4th down, he goes to Ben Johnson and says, "We're going for it." He makes the calls. He's the general. He's out there calling the shots. I'm not sure the answer on this, but what does Andy Reid do? Doesn't he have Matt Nagy calling the plays? Is Matt Nagy carrying the play sheet, or is it Andy Reid? Because I know it used to be the guy that used to be the running back from Colorado. I can't remember his name. Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
He used to be the offensive coordinator. So what is it why does Kyle have to have full control of the front office, the play calling? And last year we saw he had control of the defense too, because he'd say, nope.
He's the nutty professor. He wears a lot of different hats instead of just being a head coach and being a play caller. In fact, he's too much of a play caller and he's not too much of a head coach. And that's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. He's more of a play caller because
he's an offensive coordinator. He's not a head coach. He's not a leader. He doesn't inspire like a Dan Campbell does. Like Mike Tomlin has 18 years in this league and he's never had a losing season. Not one. He's been 500 or better, and he doesn't have half the talent that Kyle's had over the last 5 years. And Tomlin has a Super Bowl. But I've heard people like Thomas B. and some other people say Kyle Shanahan's better than Mike Tomlin. Who's the coach? What's the name of the coach of the Minnesota Vikings? I bet you before he was hired, I bet you guys like Thomas B., if they were a Viking fan, would say, oh, who's that coach? That's a bad hire. How about Dan Quinn? Dan Quinn last year was thought of to be crap. But he goes to a Washington team. They draft well. They actually took a quarterback in his first year, not like Kyle. I'm going to pass on Mahomes. I'm going to take Solomon Thomas instead. He gets a pass for that. So Dan Quinn was thought of as to be a retread and a washed-up coach. What's he doing now? He's winning with Washington. Talent wins games. Coaches tweak things and strategize things when you're going up against another good team. Talent wins game. Bill Walsh had talent, he won. George Seifert had talent, he won. When Kyle Shanahan has talent, he wins. And when he doesn't have talent and he has injuries, he loses. That's not the mark of a good coach. The mark of a good coach is when you don't have very much talent or you have injuries and you still win. Detroit has more injuries than the Niners. Facts. They're 14-2 now. Facts. Mike Tomlin does not have the talent that the Niners does, and they win. You know why? Because the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted an offensive lineman in the first round, the second round, and the fourth round. They prioritize their line. They don't prioritize fourth string wide receivers in the first round. I don't care how good Purcell played today. He's got to put it together next year to justify that first round pick. So as long as Kyle here, he's going to keep doing the same things that he's always done. All his philosophies that I don't want to keep mentioning because I sound like a broken record, but they are what they are.
Los, I completely agree. You've been talking about that for a while. Personnel that we have is the problem.
Yep.
The other thing about coaching, and Dan brought this up about Dan Campbell, I've never seen so many involved and having fun when he coaches. You know, he goes for it on 4th and 3. When he didn't make the 4th and 3, what does he do? He comes right over to the player that dropped it. No problem. We'll get him back. You know, he talks to Aaron Glenn. Hey, what do you think? We're going to go on 4th and 3. How's our defense going to be able to hold up? He's so much more involved. I mean, you know, and we'll bring this up. Yeah, the Niners are having a down season, but who would you rather be coaching and who would you rather be a fan of? The Lions, who are young, hungry, and look like they're going to be like this for the next 4 or 5 years. They have a better quarterback. They're going to get their injuries back, or someone like the Niners. You know, the Niners are really falling very, very quickly. And again, it goes back, you know, with Brock Purdy, we don't know about this injury, and we're probably not going to hear about how bad it is or let him sit next until really it comes across. But my God, we have sunken so fast, so quickly. I mean, it might not be next year. It might be 2 or 3 years before we're competitive again.
What is this fan base going to do? What are fans like Thomas, who has all the confidence in the world in Kyle, going to do when they run it back and they bring back Juice and they bring back Debo? Lord knows if they bring back Moody. What if they bring back Brendel? What if they bring back guys that just are not very good anymore? Like, what is that? What does it take for people to challenge Kyle? I mean, what more evidence do you need? I mean, I really don't get it. I really don't understand why this guy gets so much love and respect when he's a good coach. I will never say he's a bad coach. He's a good coach, but he's far from great. He has too many flaws to be great.
Thomas has named the Detroit injury to me that was equivalent to losing CMC. Well, they lost.
They have the best defensive player in all of the NFL.
Chad
That's all I
Hutchinson.
need to say.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Or Aiden Hutchinson, I mean.
Yeah, Adrian Hutchinson is more to the defense than CMC is to the offense. Not even close. And by the way, he was out, like week 6? But
no,
when you have
was it 3 or 4?
Or even,
maybe
yeah,
5.
I'd say,
Something
you know, it gets, but again, it goes back to what Lo said. They lose their best defensive player and they adapt with the personnel that they've drafted and who their backups are. You know, that's the biggest problem. So
I want to show you guys something on the screen here real quick. And I want to show you a difference. I don't know if you guys can see my screen up there. It might be, okay. See this right here? They're going to stop it. Okay. See, Purdy has already released the ball. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. He's throwing it right over the middle. You see the safety with the circle around him coming up?
Yes.
But you see where Pearsall's sitting down there at the 25-yard line?
Yep.
What would Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce do? They would have read each other and said, stop right here in this little pocket that's in the open zone. And Pearsall would have stopped right. I'll go right back and look at it again because he's wide open right there. Look at that. He just throw it right there. But he already let him. And you see the safety. Brock's got to see that safety. Yeah. He's got to see that safety. He threw it right to the safety thinking that Pearsall would get there in front of him. That is inexperience on both players' parts. And that is the stuff that is do you not have the ability in Kyle's offense to do something different, to improvise?
But I keep hearing that Kyle's offense is great no matter who's back there. So Thomas B, you just screwed yourself because you said nobody injury was as big as CMC. Where were the Niners offense? What was the Niners offense doing before McCaffrey got here? Was it great? Were they scoring 28, 30 points a game, or were they scoring about 18 to 20 points a game? I'll answer it for you. They were scoring about 18 to 20 points a game. McCaffrey came and unlocked everything. Let me ask Thomas B that. Did Kyle Shanahan get Christian McCaffrey on this team? He had a chance to draft him one year and he didn't. I'll repeat it. Did Kyle Shanahan, who you're giving all the credit for all these playoffs and all the successes, did Kyle Shanahan get McCaffrey here? No, he did not. The front office did. The GM did. Did Kyle Shanahan get Trent Williams here? No, he did not. The front office did. When Kyle Shanahan gets to make picks, he usually misses. When the scouts in the front office actually get to pick, they usually hit. There's the difference.
Look at his first round picks, the last since he's
Kyle
been here,
has
8 years.
Kyle has missed. If it's true, if what they say is true, that he gets to pick about the first 3 rounds, and then he turns it over to the scouting department in rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. That says all you need to say. Go back to every draft since 2017 and look at rounds 1, 2, and 3. Those are all Kyle's picks, from Reuben Foster to Solomon Thomas to C.J. Beathard to Trey Sermon to Travis Davis-Price. Jesus, my God. To Javon Kinlaw. He passed on Wirfs. He passed on Mahomes. He told Tom Brady, hey, buddy, thanks. You've won 7 Super Bowls, but we like Jimmy G. Man, how I need to go on and on and on. This case is closed, dude. This case is closed. They win despite of Kyle, not because of him. They win despite him. He has missed so many times, and if Brock Purdy didn't come along, he probably still wouldn't be fired. Most coaches would be if you trade 3 picks, 3 first-round picks for a guy that looks to be a complete bust. That's a fireable offense. But Brock Purdy saved his ass, and now Kyle may have gotten him hurt when the game was out of reach. Kyle ain't it, man. He ain't it. But
let me get to this super chat, and then I'm going to listen. I'm going to mute myself and listen to Brock Purdy presser and see what he had to say from the. So Bill says the big key is Lynch and Kyle have missed on almost 20 first-round picks since they got here. Check it out. I think he meant 20 early round, day 1, day 2.
Early round, yeah. They've and Larry talks about that a lot. That they've missed so much that it's almost a miracle that they've had any success. But this coach has also had 4 losing seasons. So
yeah, I'm going to mute myself. So I'm going to just so I can listen to this, and I'll come back and tell you what Purdy had to say.
Lou, this is we talk about this when we're talking baseball, Lou. We're talking about how the old school baseball players and the superstars every year they had good years, good year. So guys like Thomas wants to talk about Kyle being so great. He has 4 winning seasons and he has 4 real losing seasons. There's no middle ground. Either he's really bad or he's really good. But even the really good, when he's loaded and he has the best team in football, it's his decisions late in games that cost him big games.
And how is he with the lead in 3 Super Bowls?
He's lost 3 Super Bowls with 10-point leads. Like, again, what's the joke? What's the difference between Kyle Shanahan and a dollar bill? A dollar bill gives you 4 quarters.
Yep.
Period. Kyle's record in the 4th quarter speaks for itself. That, to me, is not a clutch coach makes the clutch decision. The coach that won the Super Bowl for the Eagles, he replaced Andy Reid. The guy that's with the Jaguars, his name escapes me. Okay, he's not a better coach than Andy Reid. That would be stupid and asinine for me to say. But Andy Reid had similar tendencies as Kyle Shanahan did. He was bad with clock management. He was conservative in the 4th quarter, and his teams lost a lot. The coach that won the Super Bowl for the Eagles, what play did he call late in that game that took balls, that won that Super Bowl against Brady?
The Philly Special.
Philly Special. Do you think that Kyle Shanahan would ever in a tight game in the fourth quarter in a big game run a trick play?
No.
Do you ever think Kyle Shanahan would run a fake field goal? Do you ever think Kyle Shanahan would run a fake punt? See, I'm old school. I was there in 1990 when the Bill Parcells New York Giants were going up against the Niners trying to three-peat. The Niners were a better team. But Bill Parcells, late in that game, called a fake punt at midfield that got them to get the game, a field goal to get them a little bit closer. That takes balls, and that's something that Kyle doesn't have. He's never shown that. He's always been a conservative coach, and if you don't risk it, and you ain't got no biscuit.
Yeah, Mark brought it up. Peterson was his replacement. Correct. Peterson was the coach. Thank you, Mark. Like usual.
Yeah, Bill. Like I said, say what you want to will about Dan Campbell. I will take a coach that is aggressive over a coach that's conservative any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Any day. I don't like conservative coaches. We have been, us content creators on this show and on other shows talk about that. Every time the Niners lose a close game, there's always a discussion about Kyle. On 4th and 1 at the 2-yard line, he kicks a field goal. At 4th and 2 at midfield, down 3, he punts the ball. I mean, there have been shows and shows and shows of him being conservative when it counts most. So if he ever decided to change, I would give him the benefit of the doubt. And I always say that. I'm not so stubborn to say Kyle is never going to change. I would love him to change, but I haven't seen it in 8 years. So raise your hand if you think Kyle's all of a sudden going to believe in a hurry-up offense next year. Raise your hand. Lou, is he gonna believe in a hurry-up offense next year?
No, that's a big negative. And I'm not even sure who our quarterback's going to be next year.
Is he going to be better in clock management? Dan, raise your hand next year. Is he going to be better? No hands yet. Okay, let's see. How about special teams? Is he actually going to practice special teams and take it seriously next year? Raise your hand. Anybody, please.
No.
Thomas, I see your hand as the only hand out there because Kyle can do no wrong. What else? Oh, is Kyle going to actually believe in offensive line and draft them early? Raise your hand next year. He's going to change, right? Raise your hand. I see you, Thomas. There you go. I don't see any other hands. I see one hand out there out of about how many people are in the chat, Dan?
256 right now.
256. I see one hand.
Between Twitter and
Yeah, his aggressiveness didn't work, but how did Kyle's conservatives things work?
Thomas says, how much you want to bet Dan Campbell never accomplishes what Kyle has?
Hey, Thomas, get my number and we can take a bet. I bet you Dan Campbell wins the Super Bowl before Kyle.
What has Kyle accomplished?
What has Kyle accomplished? He's had 4 winning seasons and 4 losing seasons.
He's 0-3 in the Super Bowl.
He's a running joke. He's a running meme at blowing 3 Super Bowls now. He has one of the worst winning percentages of any coach over 100 games. Look it up. Don't take my point of view and just talking S.
He says he'll bet you anything he doesn't.
Lay down. I bet you Kyle won't.
We might as well do it live here. We do that with the Warrior Talk, so then we have a copy just in case.
Who's having a better season this season? 14-2 versus what? What's the Niners now? 6-9. There you go.
Hey, look,
Dan Campbell hasn't been a coach that long. Give him a chance. He hasn't been a coach that long.
I'll say this, Thomas. You can't knock Kyle for 4 NFC championships in 5 years. Give him credit. But he's blown 1 NFC championship game and 2 Super Bowls with leads, 10-point leads in the fourth quarter.
Now, 3 Super Bowls he blew.
Yeah, if you count him as an offensive coordinator, he blew the Super Bowl up 28-3. He blew the 2 Super Bowls leads against Kansas City. Well, I don't think he had a 10-point lead last year in Kansas, but he had a 10-point lead in the game. They were up 10-0. Weren't the Niners up 10-0 last year against the Chiefs?
The other thing is when they lost the first Super Bowl to KC, they did. If you remember, it was 3rd down and 18. All we needed was 1 stop.
Right.
Remember the throw that just stayed up in the air forever. You're the head coach. You got to have some responsibility.
Thomas, Kyle gets the blame I'm gonna repeat this again. I wish I could get in a DeLorean and go back in time and watch all these football games with Thomas B when they were happening. Kyle gets the blame because when you are up, you have to understand football and game management. When you are down in the red zone, like he was against New England in the Super Bowl, and Julio Jones makes this ridiculous play and gets them in field goal range. And I can't remember who their kicker was, but I remember he was pretty automatic within 50. They're in field goal range for 40. They're up, I believe, 7. If they kick a field goal, Atlanta Falcons are the Super Bowl champions. Time was running out. They would have gone up 2 scores. You run the ball there, and even if you get stuffed 3 times,
he got sacked. He got sacked.
Even if you run the ball 3 times there and understand football etiquette and IQ, you run the ball 3 times there, even if you get stuffed. New England has to use up their timeouts. They're at about the 26-yard line. They're kicking a 43-yard field goal.
Right.
In the game. He calls a pass play. He gets sacked. The worst thing that can happen out of field goal range. He did not learn from that mistake. He did the same thing again. This is my point against Kyle. I can understand when coaches lose. I would give Marv Levy more love than Kyle because Marv Levy just got beat. Like his Buffalo teams were just not as good as Dallas and Washington and Dallas again. They got unlucky to miss a field goal against Buffalo. They should have won that game.
The first one, yeah.
My whole contention about Kyle is he loses in the same way in big games. To me, a great head coach understands his mistakes and learns from them and doesn't do them again. Thomas, if you can call the show, send a link in and get him on the show. Thomas, if you can honestly say Kyle learns from his mistakes, you're dead wrong, man. You could back the guy and say he's a good coach. I'll give you that to a point. But if you can sit there and tell me he has not learned from his mistakes in 4 times, because let's not forget the Rams game. How much was he up in the Rams NFC Championship game, Lou?
Was it 12?
It was 10.
10. Okay. I thought it was
10. 10 is a very unlucky number. For
and the ball.
49ers. Yeah. 10 is Kyle Williams when they're up 10, whatever the case may be. Kyle has blown so many big games in the same manner. He gets away from the running game, and he did it again tonight in the 4th quarter. Brock Purdy throws 16 straight passes. Ben Johnson ran the ball. Guess who won the game? He keeps making the same mistake. But hey, man, if you want to run it back with the guy that keeps making the same mistake, please, next year, when he doesn't run a hurry-up offense, when he makes bad picks, and when he does bad clock management, and when he blows 4th quarter leads, please don't complain because this is who you voted for. Please don't complain. This is who you voted for, and this is who you want.
I'm trying to post this link in here. Let's see if I got it. Okay. I just invited anybody if Thomas wants to come on in. There's the link out there.
Please come in. I'd love to have a civil debate. I mean, I respect that you back Kyle. I don't agree with it. I respect it, but I just don't agree with it. He's had too many opportunities. As far as Tart dropping the ball, yeah, it was a bad play. But here's the thing about it is, see, I grew up with a coach that knew how to put teams away. See, I grew up with Walsh. I saw Walsh. I saw him when he was up 10, he'd go up 17, and then go up 20, and then go up 27. I saw him in big games put teams away. See, the difference between a genius like Walsh is he knocked guys out. He didn't let it go to the scorecards. You know what Kyle does? Kyle does what De La Hoya did against Trinidad, for those of you that know boxing.
I was there.
Trinidad was down in that fight against De La Hoya, and De La Hoya ran the last 4 or 5 rounds. That's Kyle Shanahan. So you want to say Tart dropped this ball, and Moody missed an extra point last year, and then they dropped a special teams. You can always give those excuses. Great. But why was the game close to begin with? Kyle had a lead. Why didn't he expand on the lead? Isn't he a great offensive mind? Thomas B, isn't Kyle a great offensive mind? He's a great X's and O's. Why couldn't he take that 10-point lead? The Niners got a turnover in that second half last year in the Super Bowl. If he puts a touchdown on the board and it's 17-0, the way the D was playing, that game is over.
over.
What did he do? What did he do, Thomas? What did he do? Oh, he threw the ball again. 3 and out. Man, I'm just repeating myself. If you want to roll with that and keep making the same mistakes, that's on you, bro. That's on you.
All right, let me get to this super chat here. This is by Armando Colomaneres. Is that how you say it? Colomaneres, I think. The negligence of not drafting offensive line and not prioritizing special teams is all on Kyle. And when he is down, he doesn't adapt his play calling. Not good. Exactly. I heard a piece the other night, Armando, from Dieter Kurtenbach. He was over on the Krug show, and they asked about, I can't even remember what the question was, but it had something to do with Kyle is really good coach. Oh, the question was, why are they minus 53 in the fourth quarter? And he said, because the Kyle can't script the fourth quarter. He can script the beginning of the game, but when he gets to pressure parts of the game, he freezes like a kid who can't take the test, when he freezes on the test and he doesn't know the answers and he can't think. This is Kyle. He can, and to me, it was one of the best things I had heard, because it's true. If you watch games that are close, the Niners lose most of the close games. Niners win big when they get up by 2 scores in the first quarter, and then their defense can take over. They get some turnovers, and they're able to put teams away. But when it's a close game, what is Kyle's record in 1-score games?
37% winning percentage. Well,
why is that? Why is that though? Because
he makes poor decisions in the fourth quarter. His teams make. Do you notice in big games, Kyle's teams are not buttoned up? There's a lot of penalties and a lot of turnovers. When was the last time you saw? The last time I saw the Niners play a big game, and it was last year. Wasn't even really. It was a big regular season game when they went into Philly and they manhandled them. They played a clean game that game, and that's when the Niners can really be good. But more times than not, if you watch Kyle's teams in the Super Bowl, there are a lot of penalties, and there's usually turnovers, and usually special teams, which he does not care about, which you should care about as a head coach. He doesn't care about. So, Kyle's fourth quarter point differential this year is, I believe, minus 70, and it's probably worse now after tonight.
Well, it was minus 53 going into tonight, I think.
Okay, minus 53. So it's close to minus 70 now after tonight. So Kyle's fourth quarters are bad. I mean, you can either acknowledge it and say, yeah, he needs work on that, or you can keep doing what respectfully, fans like Thomas and a lot of fans do. Just sweep it under the rug. Oh, it's no big deal. He's still a good coach. Okay. We'll just keep ignoring it.
Yeah. It's hard to ignore when you
even Dan believes that Shanahan's not right.
Dan was where Dan, believe it or not,
where Tom.
Dan was where you were, Thomas, earlier this year. Like, me and Dan had some good debates.
Big time.
And he was borderline calling me crazy. And slowly, Dan saw for himself the things that I pointed out, Grant's pointed out, and he started seeing it. I know it's hard to see any fault about Kyle, because he brought the team back from obscurity. I will always give Kyle and Lynch credit for changing the culture of the team. They will always have my high respect on that. They did a wonderful job on that. But I cannot ignore these mistakes and these philosophies that he has. I still do not know a coach in my whole life, even high school coaches, that don't believe in a 2-minute offense. I would love to hear your response on that, Thomas B. Do you know that Kyle does not believe in a hurry-up offense? He's been asked that at a press conference. Why don't you run a hurry-up offense? I don't think I have to run gimmicks for that. Gimmicks? Bro, you're down by 2 scores. This isn't baseball. There's this thing called the clock. See the clock up there? It's running down. You're running out of time. You need to call 2 plays and do a hurry-up. And he does not believe in that. I can't believe a professional head coach can actually keep a job, and John Lynch doesn't go to him and say, what the fuck, dude? You're a head coach. You better have a 2-minute offense because that's part of the game. That's like a basketball coach saying, I don't believe we should shoot 3-pointers. That's how asinine that is. Can you imagine that? Hey, man, we don't shoot 3-pointers here. Not having a 2-minute offense or believing in it is one of the most ridiculous, stupidest things I've ever seen. But Kyle doesn't believe in it, and nobody calls him out.
I was watching Green Bay yesterday against Green Bay, Minnesota. Minnesota was down, or Green Bay was down
the other way.
27-10. What did Green Bay do with 7 minutes to go? 7 minutes to go, 27-10. And what did also, what's the coach's name? Green Bay? Gosh.
Matt LaFleur.
Yeah. I just saw down below and got me all confused. Got me shook up, SGA. I don't know if you guys see that down below or if it's just me that can see. I guess you guys can't see it. In the green room, you don't see that? Oh, I guess you can. I guess you can't. Oh, I guess I'm the only one who can see it. Okay. Anyway, 27-10, Matt LaFleur. 7 minutes to go. What's he do? He realizes, I don't have time to huddle up. I got to get 3 scores. Kyle would be huddling. So LaFleur, he scores. He makes it 27-17. For some reason, he went for 2 and made it 18. I don't know what 9 versus 10.
Agree.
It was like, what are you doing? Anyway, he makes it, gets the next touchdown, and it's 27-25. And they got a chance to get the ball back
and went on a field goal, which I would have never thought of down that many.
Right. And they just didn't get the ball back. They couldn't stop Minnesota. Minnesota was able to run out the clock because they got it, they had timeouts and everything. They had 3 timeouts. They scored before the 2-minute warning. It was beautiful. But Kyle, no, he wouldn't have done that. He would not have done that, Los. He would have huddled. He did. He huddles. He goes 2-minute offense like at the end of the first half tonight.
There's no sense of urgency, man. And so, Lou, Dan, you guys remember how it used to be. The Niner great teams of the past, when games were close, didn't you just feel somebody's going to make a play? Somebody on the defense Ronnie's going to make a play. Fred Dean's going to make a play. Yep. Charles Haley's going to make a play. And on offense, Walsh is going to call the right call on 3rd and 3. When we need to keep the ball and run out the clock, Walsh is going to call the right play. Joe's going to execute it. And when you watch games now, if the Niners are like Mike Tyson with Kyle. If Mike knocks you out in the first 3 or 4 rounds, hey, Mike's dominant. He's a great fighter. Kyle's a great coach. But when it gets tight and close, Evander Holyfield, I'm not talking about the second fight. I'm talking about the first fight when Evander whooped that ass. When games are close, Lou, Dan, are you confident in this Niner team under Kyle when the games are close? Because I'm not
at all.
I almost feel like what's going to go wrong.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
and then Kyle will blame that person, and that's another thing. I haven't even mentioned that, Thomas B. Kyle's the head coach.
By the way, Mark Graves pointed out, I meant to tell this when I came back and watched Brock speak on ESPN. Brock said his arm was on fire. He'll have an MRI tomorrow.
Shit.
He said he said it doesn't feel great, but they did some UCL tests and those seem to be okay, but they don't know what it is. So MRI, he's definitely not going to play next week, which would be just, stupidity at its ultimate level if they play Brock next week. But let's assume that he's out. Let's hope that it's nothing serious. But anytime say your arm's on fire, that means that could be you got the funny bone. Have you ever had that?
Where the funny bone or possible nerve damage.
Yeah, you hope it's not nerve damage because I don't know what that sleeve, how they did that surgery before with the sleeve, with the elbow to get him back quicker than regular Tommy John surgery. So you hope this has never really been done before with athletes getting back that quick. They did this sleeve procedure to get back quicker. And I think a couple of other people have done it now, but we'll see. Hopefully it just is a little flare up and rest will heal it. But I wanted to get to a point here on Thomas made the point in here about the same Kyle Shanahan or the same Matt LaFleur that lost repeatedly to Kyle. Look, Thomas, we're not saying Kyle's a horrible coach,
Right.
but when he doesn't have the best talented roster, if he's going up against an equal talented team, he's going to lose the majority of the time.
Right.
That's just a fact. And if he's got way better roster talent-wise, he wins. He loses when he gets to a closer team, especially if he's facing really good coaching.
Last year, Kyle's team was almost equivalent to some of the best Niner teams of all time as far as talent. What did they have? 11 Pro Bowlers, and they were healthy. They were not injured at all. They were fully healthy going into that Super Bowl. They had a better team than Kansas City. And Patrick Mahomes, my God, did not play well. He did not play well. Mahomes has thrown 3 interceptions in 2 Super Bowls against the Niners, and he hasn't played that good in either game. But you know what won the game for the Kansas City? Kansas City's defense shut down the Niners' offense when it counted most.
Look,
Kyle's offense in big games scores about 18 to 20 points. And last year, Kyle's offense was scoring 32 points a game. But in the biggest moment, he couldn't get it done. And in the biggest moment, his offensive line couldn't make a block to win the game and give Brock time because Ayuk was wide open on that one play on 3rd and 4.
Well, when you're in a game, there's a lot of key plays. It's one play here, one play there. I'll say this. They did mess up the offensive line, yes, and that was bad. I think they lost the game when Dre Greenlaw went out. I don't think that Kansas City would have been able to move the ball like they did late in the end of the game to get it into overtime, and then in overtime. If the healthy Dre Greenlaw, I think the Niners might have won that game. But
at some point, Kyle's offense needed to score in that game, and they scored a touchdown on a trick play in the first half.
Yeah, the Jennings to.
But in the second half, the Niners had a 10-point lead, and if they even trade scores, if Kansas City scores a touchdown, the Niners score a touchdown, Kansas City kicks a field goal, the Niners kick a field goal, the Niners win the game. They were up 10 in the second half, and they got an interception to start the second half. The game would have been over if Kyle would have found a way with his out-of-this-world offense, with McCaffrey, with Ayuk, with Debo, with Juice, with Kittle. By the way, I haven't even mentioned this. Ben Johnson, when he goes heavy package means going 6 linemen. Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell actually use a 6th offensive lineman. What does Kyle do when he has to have a 6th offensive lineman? Oh, he uses his out-of-this-world tight end, George Kittle. What has George Kittle done in 2 Super Bowls? Oh, he had to stay in and block a lot because Kyle doesn't believe in drafting offensive linemen very high. Do you think Andy Reid would keep Travis Kelce in the block? Dan, Luke? Rhetorical question.
Yeah.
Probably not.
No.
But George Kittle's a non-factor in the biggest game with everything on the line. George Kittle, who, by the way, was asked by Grant Cohn about being an offensive lineman. You know what George Kittle's response was? I'm pretty much an offensive lineman here already. That was a sarcastic dig at Kyle. Hey, man, I could be the best tight end maybe in the history of this league if you use me like Kelce. Because Kittle is unguardable. And when he gets the ball with a head of steam and in space, man, he's hard to bring down. But Kyle uses him as an offensive lineman because Kyle doesn't believe in offensive line. Ben Johnson actually uses a backup lineman as a 6th lineman and says, Kelce, go make plays. Another difference.
He lets you know
going on and on and on and on.
Ben Johnson, he lets you know it's maybe a run, likely a run. He doesn't care. I'm just going to blow. Those runs that they ran in for touchdowns tonight, the one to the left side of and then the one to the right down just the offensive line was just blowing people away. And then I love it when they bring in that big number 70, whatever.
Ben Johnson's thrown. How many touchdowns have you seen Kyle in 8 years throw to an offensive lineman?
None.
Any?
Never.
None. Oh, so Ben Johnson has him beat there too. He has an offensive line. And you know what that does? It's not just the play calling. Like, offensive linemen do a lot of dirty work. To give them love and give them a little touchdown and give them a highlight, you know what? That's team camaraderie. I mean, like,
I want to play for you.
I want to play for you, man.
Yeah.
You're getting me involved? Wow. What do the offensive playmakers of Kyle say? Oh, look at the game plan. Oh, first play going to Debo. Oh,
yeah, and Dan, I want to bring something up. We did a mid-season thing, and the chat was all over Los. I know I've spoken this before, but he said we're probably going to have a 4-game losing streak. We're probably going to win 7-8 games at the most. I think maybe they'll go 2-5, maybe 2-6 to end. And everybody in the chat, I mean, Los is a true fan, guys. He's not being negative because it's one game. He's been like this from the start. And, you know, Thomas, I love that you're saying what you think. That's what makes NorCal Sports Network different. We want you to be like that.
Yeah.
One of the things that makes this show is, if you notice, for the Niners and the Warriors, we have 3 people, right? We're like stewards for a horse race. We're all going to give different opinion. And that's what makes this show. I mean, I admitted this year I was with Los where I didn't really have faith in the Niners. Dan was like Thomas. No, I believe in my Niners. I believe in my Niners. But now he's seen it. Hey, it was a wasted season. Yeah, maybe you guys are bringing up good points. You know, if Los was wrong, he would admit he's wrong. But he's been saying this for 8 weeks now, guys. Yeah. You know,
I will say this, Lou.
Yeah,
I'll say the injuries did affect a couple of wins, I'm sure. CMC's healthy, Ayuk stays healthy, and Trent Williams, those main guys, healthy. I think they're probably closer to a 9-10 win season. Oof. But they definitely had a Super Bowl hangover if you look at everything. The fact is, the way they lost the Super Bowl was not just losing it, but the way they lost it. And Kansas City was so fired up when the 49ers won the toss and elected to take the ball. Because you got to remember.
What are the rules? Yeah. Who's responsible for telling the people before they go out, this is what we want? That's all Shanahan's fault right there. You got to know the rules. If you don't know the rules, what the hell are you being the head coach for to begin with?
But he gets a pass. He gets a pass.
So Mahomes runs off the sideline gleefully. Like, they want the ball. They want the ball. And then Kelsey says something. I can't remember what it was. And then if you've seen the shows, over Kyle Huschek goes, hey, I didn't realize, if we score a touchdown, they still get the ball back. I didn't know that, he says. And the dude from Harvard, the dude from Harvard didn't know the rules because they weren't informed. But why did Kansas City know the rules? Why did all their players know the rules? Because they were prepared for everything. And if you prepared for everything that can happen in a game, this is why if you've played sports, you practice things like the 2-minute drill at the end of a game, because you practice. I was a kicker. All right. I was a kicker. We used to practice running onto the field real fast because we might not have any timeouts. We got to hurry. We didn't have, when I was playing football, there was no spike the ball. We didn't have, there was that. You guys remember the spike the ball in the early 70s? 80s? When did that thing come around?
And they have that new rule. You can't spike it if it's less than 3 seconds. They adapted. But yeah, no, I agree. And they're all simple things. That's why there's 3 aspects to the games. And if you saw this year, the Niners would have a great defense. Their offense was stagnant, and their special teams were a disaster. Or
yeah,
if
and I
maybe
know this, George. True. I'm sorry, Lou.
That's
I
right.
wanted to run this point. I know they were gassed because they were on the field at the end of the fourth quarter regulation. So they
but it should have never
probably
came down to that.
The game
But-
should have never came down
Yeah.
to that. The game turned and the game was decided in the third quarter. The Niners had control of that game. Really, they should have been up like 13, 17, nothing at half. They were only up 10. And then they get the pick. The defense again comes up with a great play, again gives it to the offense to put a nail in the coffin. But Kyle does not have the killer instinct to put teams away. If you look at his history of all his playoff games, other than the Packers game, and what did he do in the Packers game? Raheem Mostert went crazy. Oh, shit. He ran the ball. He didn't try to throw all the time. He ran and committed to the running game and won the NFC Championship by a wide margin. It didn't matter if there was penalties late in the game. It didn't matter if a safety dropped a sure-handed pick. It didn't matter if an offensive lineman didn't pick up a blitz because they were up by 25. That's what happens when you knock teams out. But if you keep games close, weird things can happen. So I'm sick and tired of hearing, well, this guy did this and this guy did this, and that's why they lost the Super Bowl. No, put teams away. Put teams away. And that won't happen. If you want to think about where this season went wrong, and I keep hearing in the chat, and I hear it from Dan a little bit, well, if we've been healthy, we might have a couple more wins. Go back to week 2. Okay, coming off of a very impressive week 1 win against the Jets. Week 2 at the Rams. The Rams have no wide receivers.
None.
Their starting 2 wide receivers are hurt. Their
Starting running back was out.
Okay.
Yeah, Williams was out too.
Who were the Niners missing? CMC. But there was a guy named Jordan Mason who was leading the league in rushing. So not much of a drop off.
I think Debo was out and Ayuk was
playing.
but he was
playing.
But Debo and Kittle were out.
Was Kittle out?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
That was the game Jennings had like 15 catches.
Week 2, Jennings had a big game, and I believe for the most part, the Niners were healthy. But I know the Rams were more injured than the Niners. And again, the Niners got up. And again, the Niners, late in the game, if you remember, it was a special teams punt that they broke all the way back. The punter could have very simply been told, kick it out of bounds. If you kick it out of bounds, there's no chance for a return. No, let's kick it to the guy. And our special team sucks because our head coach doesn't believe in it or prioritize in it because special teams is 33% of the game. That's what Dan alluded to earlier. When you're that arrogant and you think that your offensive play calling is going to make up for deficiencies, no. Why not be strong in all areas and leave there no doubt? But no. The Niners losing that game to the Rams was really a bad loss. And it set a precedent. And what happened a few weeks later? Then they lost to the Cardinals, fourth quarter meltdown. Then later on, they lost to the Seahawks.
At home.
Fourth quarter meltdowns.
Yeah.
Do you see the pattern? Do I need to keep repeating myself? Fourth quarter meltdowns.
Yeah.
That's not just been a problem this year. That's been a problem since Kyle's been head coach.
Yeah, no, I think you made a great point. You know, you talk about week 2. I mean, I'm just looking up. The Niners were up 21-14, had first down and goal with 11:50 left in the game. They wind up having to kick a field goal to go up 24-14, or they would have been up 14, and then they got outscored, literally 13-0 to end it the fourth quarter. But you got to remember, they were up 21-7 at one point. It's, I think you bring up a great point. When you're on the road and you have a chance to steal a win,
run the ball,
and then, and you lose it, it's like a double loss. We talked about that with the Giants, when they're up 5-0 and you have your ace. When you lose that, it's almost like losing 2 games. This year, since Dan, was doing these fourth quarter recaps, I don't know how many times it was like, oh my God, oh, here we go again. Oh, we'll get 9 yards on a screen. And what do? Instead of running the ball, we try to do a fancy pass. And then we wind up now it's 4th and 1. And what are we going to do? It's
Yep.
been consistent all year of inconsistency.
There was a game earlier this year, the Texans, who are not having a great year, and they're having their own issues with offensive line. I believe they were playing the Colts. They were up 3, and there was about a minute 30, a minute 40 left on the clock, and it was 4th and 3, or fourth and goal at the 3-yard line of the Colts. I guarantee you, with my life, Kyle kicks that field goal and goes up 6, and leaves an opportunity for his opponent to go down the field and beat him. What did D'Amico Ryans, who I personally wanted to be promoted, I wanted Kyle traded 2 years ago, pick up draft picks, and I wanted D'Amico, who's a better leader to me, could have brought in an offensive coordinator, but that's gone. D'Amico goes for it. They score a touchdown. They go up 10. Game is over. That's what I'm talking about. Nail in the coffin. Even if he doesn't make it, he's got a pretty good defense, and he's got them pinned up at the 3-yard line. But he decided to go for it and put teams away. Kyle always leaves the door open. Because he's very conservative, which I don't understand, because his dad was not that way.
No.
His dad leaned on the running game. His dad couldn't win a Super Bowl with John Elway, but once he got, Terrell Davis, he leaned on Terrell Davis to win 2 Super Bowls. Watch those Super Bowls again. His father, Mike Shanahan, leaned on Terrell Davis when they were 11-point underdogs against the Packers in the Super Bowl. Terrell Davis took over that game. Because when you are running the ball all the time, and guys that I did not play football, so I can't profess to be an expert at playing the game, but I sure as hell know when you're an offensive lineman and you're running the ball, you're giving punishment. You're going ahead. When you're pass blocking, you're taking punishment. You're in retreat. So Kyle doesn't believe in the running game in the second half, whether he has a lead or whether he's down a little. He's pass. And it's a proven fact. If you pass the ball, more bad things can happen. You can get an offensive holding more than likely on a passing play. You can get a sack, which is a negative play, and you're more likely to turn the ball over on a passing play. So while there are bigger plays, and I get it, it's a passing league, fundamental running the ball. I think 8 of the 10 teams that are in the playoffs are the top rushing teams in the league. It's an old school way of playing football, but it's a winning plays of playing football. And Kyle, in 8 years, despite his father doing that and winning 2 Super Bowls by doing that exact same thing, that shows you how stubborn Kyle is. If his own father tells him, hey, son, like I won 2 Super Bowls, you want to watch film together and watch this? This is how we finished off a Super Bowl. And if you're going to say, well, he didn't have Terrell Davis. No, he had Christian McCaffrey, who's pretty damn good. Didn't rely on the running game.
Yeah, that Mike Shanahan, that was his thing. Beside Terrell Davis, he was how many years was he up in Denver? I think probably 10 or 12, it seemed like. He always had a running back. It just wasn't Terrell Davis. I think he was the first coach to actually have a running back run for, I think, 1,000 yards, like 10 or 12 straight years. The Niners are never going to be like that. And I don't understand. You remember a great point. Mike Shanahan knew it all started with the running. For the son, it's all about the pass. But when Denver was up and they had the ball with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it was over. The game was over when they had the lead because you couldn't stop the run. Right. They literally probably averaged almost 3 to 4, almost 5 yards in that fourth quarter because you'd run. By the fourth quarter, these guys, their defensive guys, were so tired. It was like hot knife through butter. And it's just, it's frustrating. It's hard to watch. The other thing is people are forgetting last year, the Niners got so lucky in the playoffs. They were home. They should have lost both games. Yep. Green Bay outplayed them. Detroit outplayed them. And we got very, very lucky to get where we were in the Super Bowl. It wasn't like we had a great year and we zoomed through it. Remember, we were a number 1 seed, and we barely got to the Super Bowl.
And number 1 seed, home field advantage, had a week off.
Yep.
Niner great teams of the past, when they were the number 1 seed and had time off, they were rolling through the playoffs. The Niners were barely squeaking by these teams, and that was a red flag to me going into the Super Bowl. A lot of friends that I watched the game with said, oh, there's no way we're losing to Kansas City this year. I'm like, hey, man, we didn't exactly look that good against Detroit and didn't look that good against Green Bay. Like
we were down 10 and 14, both. So
we needed a lot of good things to happen, balls bouncing off of people's face masks and stuff like that. But another thing that I know disturbs me and a lot of other people about Kyle is, man, he is just so unaccountable. He never takes any accountability whatsoever. He's been asked after this last Super Bowl, he was quite frankly asked if you had to do anything over again, would you have changed anything? And he said no. So he basically, by giving that answer, he's like putting that loss on the players. Like, you don't think you could have ran the ball a little bit more? No. Like he never. Brock Purdy takes some. That's why I love that.
Oh, the abuse.
Brock Purdy at age 25 takes so much accountability, even when he doesn't have to. Like, I should have made a better throw. I got to make a better play. I've never heard Kyle. And Kyle's supposed to be the head coach. You're a reflection of your leader. And Kyle's not a good leader. And our
veterans have stood up and they're upset. They feel like, Kittle goes, man, I could have done more. All these veterans, without the veterans that we have on our team speaking their mind, this team would have even had a worse year. But, it gets to a point where the players can only do so much. They blame themselves. Yeah, hey, you're paying me a lot of money. You come to see me. I'm not coming through. But, it all comes down to the coaches, too. The special teams are coached by a coach who then reports to Shanahan. Our defense has their defensive coordinator who then reports to Shanahan. It's got to go. The top has to take some responsibility. It's not everybody else's fault. And that's one of the reasons why we have been very tough on Lynch. Lynch is our GM. Guys, he got a CMC for not much, right? He's made good trades. Trent Williams, we got, right? All this stuff. But for those two great moves, there's been 15 that have been disasters, and you got to take into account. It's not like these guys just started, we don't have the ring. We have now 4 out of 8 years. We have a losing record. It gets frustrating. And if you guys see next year's home schedule, I would never go down. There's not one team I'd want to see, and here's the other thing. Do you guys, if you look at this year, and again, free agency happens, but Green Bay is young, more talented. Detroit, young, injured, more talented. Yep. Minnesota, young, they're going to have a quarterback problem, but they're still more talented. The teams above us are sort of like how the Giants, when you look at the Dodgers, these teams are so much superior than us, and they're younger, and they have, young guys that are also better than our bench. We've really sunk really low very quick, and I don't know how we're going to get back up.
No, great points, Lou, and we'll close it out here pretty soon, I believe, Danny. I'll just kind of.
We got to close this out. I just texted you guys there. And
yeah, for sure. And I'll just kind of leave it at this. We've advocated for Kyle to be traded because while we understand he's a good coach, the rest of the league thinks he's a great coach, and we can get something back for him. So if Kyle comes back next year and they don't have a very good draft and they rely on a lot of these older players who can be injured again, and he has another 500 record, his trade value is going to go down. And then maybe he might get fired and we'll get nothing for him.
Nothing.
Nothing. He'll just be fired and we'll get nothing for him. Even after this losing season, we could get 2 first-round picks for Kyle from the Bears, maybe the Raiders, maybe the Jets. Imagine what we could do with 2 first-round picks on top of our own first-round pick. We could really fix this team because talent wins games. They could get 2 offensive linemen and a stud defensive lineman with those picks, or a quarterback if Purdy's hurt, or a stud wide receiver, whatever. I mean, to have that kind of value. Remember the 1986 draft, guys. Best draft in 49ers history. That draft was they hit on almost every pick, and they got 5 starters, and they had another run with their dynasty to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you guys read I had a sneezing fit. Sorry. I was like, dang.
Is that why you're still shaking?
It's like, man, I'm blowing my nose. And anyway.
We did not go over this about unused tight end.
Oh, God. Okay. Kittle is so good. He's so good, and he could be
Imagine,
So much better
imagine
if he
if
was
he goes
utilized.
down, then we'd be a disaster. I think him and Jennings are co-MVPs this year.
And he usually misses more games. He was healthy this year for the most
Yeah.
part. So Kittle, yeah, he was amazing. Well, thanks for the comments. Thanks for the super chats to Bill and to Armando and everybody out there in the chat, Philip, and we've got lots of guys making comments. George, I know a lot of people think, hey, look, it has been a good run. 49ers had a good run, and I don't know if they can bring it back. It doesn't appear to me that it's going to be as easy. If you sign Purdy to 50, 60 million, it's going to be tough to really rebuild it.
Right.
If, I don't know. They need offensive linemen. They're over the cap, I think. Aren't they over the cap for next year? I thought they said they were over. Maybe they're under. I don't know. I heard they were under earlier in the year, that they were like 40 million under. Then I heard tonight that somebody said they were over on the broadcast, but I'm not sure.
Purdy's only 1 million against the cap.
Last question for both of you. If you got 2 first-round picks for Bosa, would you do it?
For Bosa, for 2 first-round picks for this year? Like,
Yep.
If they were
This is a good draft for defensive linemen. There's some studs out there. Let me tell
well,
you.
you'd have to go to a team that has 2 first-round picks, though. I don't know who has 2 first-round
Or
picks.
even if it was a first rounder in 25 and a first rounder in 26, would you consider doing it and get 34 million off the books?
If it was a top, 12 pick, I would.
Okay, fair enough. Bosa played a good game today, by the way.
Yeah, it was good to see him back in action.
Yeah, and he didn't have to, but he played a good game.
If it was a good enough pick, I would, because then, but we'll see. This team is gonna
lot of work.
A lot of work. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you're into more football drama, you haven't got enough 49ers post game, head on over 10 o'clock Krug show. That's in about 3 minutes. I'll be over there as well. So guys, thanks.
Give him hell,
Yeah.
Vinny.
Tough night in the Bay being a sports fan. Warriors didn't show up.
Well, I
Niners
knew the Warriors were going to get
Of
blasted.
course, 500.
When they're playing a team like Cleveland with Twin Towers, forget it. They have no shot. Warriors look like ants out there, literally. So
Look at the shooting percentage again. Good job.
I said that the other night when they beat the Clippers. I said they're too small. They look too small. They just don't have any length. Anyway, guys, go on over to the Krug show if you want to catch us over there. And then our next live will be tomorrow night, 7:45. Tune in. It'll be a little bit of a New Year's Eve, but it'll be a quick one. And we'll do a little possible giveaway tomorrow night. Maybe we'll give away some Giants tickets. So, Dan, first question to Larry. Let's trade Kyle for 2 picks. There we go. I'll get silenced.
Yeah, you get muted. So you still love Kyle, huh? In the fourth quarters.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching NorCal Sports Network. We will see you on the next one. Take care.